Imagine a royal family, loved and respected by their people, massacred within their own palace. Can you comprehend such a tragedy? This is the story of the Nepalese royal massacre. On the first day of June 2001, the unthinkable happened at the Narayanhiti Palace. 9 members of the royal family, including King Birendra and Queen Aishwarya, were brutally gunned down during a family gathering. In a single night, a beloved monarchy was obliterated, leaving a nation in mourning and shock. The clock struck 7:30 p.m. A royal gathering, nothing out of the ordinary, was set to take place. Little did they know it was to be their last. Nestled within the grandeur of Narayanhiti Palace, the royal family of Nepal congregated for a casual meetup. The night was young, and the palace brimmed with the usual joviality and laughter. King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya, and other members of the royal family were present, their faces lit up with the joy of being together. Among them was Crown Prince Dipendra, the heir apparent to the throne, a figure of charm and intellect. As the night unfolded, the atmosphere began to shift. The air became dense, the laughter faded, and a chilling silence ensued. Suddenly, the tranquility of the palace was shattered by the deafening roar of gunfire. The royal family, once immersed in merriment, was now caught in a terrifying whirlwind of violence and chaos. The palace guards, taken aback by the sudden eruption of violence, scrambled to protect the royal family. However, it was too late. The bullets had already found their targets. King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya, and other members of the royal family fell one after another, their bodies lifeless on the cold palace floor. In the midst of the pandemonium, it was Crown Prince Dipendra who was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Slipping into a coma, he was rushed to the hospital, his life hanging by a thread. Yet, in a tragic twist of fate, he was declared King of Nepal while still comatose, following the death of his father, King Birendra. As the night grew darker, the palace was plunged into a deep silence, a stark contrast to the earlier warmth and laughter. The royal gathering had turned into a scene of horror, a grim reminder of the fragility of life. By the end of the night, 9 members of the royal family lay dead, including the king and queen. The massacre at Narayanhiti Palace marked a fateful night in the history of Nepal, a night that would forever be etched in the memories of the Nepalese people. As the sun rose over the Narayanhiti Palace, the scale of the horror that had taken place became apparent. In the chilling aftermath of the massacre, the royal palace was shrouded in an eerie silence, the echoes of laughter and conversation from the fateful gathering now replaced by a deafening quiet. The announcement of the deaths sent shockwaves throughout the nation. 9 members of the royal family, including beloved King Birendra and Queen Aishwarya, had been ruthlessly murdered. The nation was plunged into mourning, the air heavy with grief and disbelief. As the news spread, the Nepalese people grappled with the reality of their loss. Public reaction was a mix of shock, despair, and a deep sense of disbelief. Rumors and speculations swirled around the country. The beloved royals had been wiped out in their very home, and the prime suspect was none other than Crown Prince Dipendra, the heir to the throne. The incredulity was palpable. Could the prince, adored and respected by the populace, have committed such a heinous act? In a startling turn of events, the comatose Crown Prince Dipendra was declared King of Nepal, succeeding his late father. He lay in a hospital bed, unresponsive, while the nation he was now supposed to lead grieved an unimaginable loss. The palace that had once been a symbol of the country's heritage and pride now bore the stains of a horrifying massacre. The ascension of the unconscious prince to the throne added a surreal layer to the tragedy. In the midst of the chaos, Gyanendra, the brother of the late King Birendra, was appointed regent. He navigated the country through the initial shock and mourning, maintaining a narrative that the deaths were the result of an accidental discharge of an automatic weapon in the palace. 3 days later, Crown Prince Dipendra died without regaining consciousness, and his uncle, Gyanendra, became king. With the passing of Dipendra, the last vestige of the old order was gone, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new, uncertain chapter in Nepal's history. In the wake of such a horrific event, questions were raised. Who was responsible? What had led to this? A comprehensive investigation was launched, led by Chief Justice Keshav Prasad Upadhyaya and Speaker of the House Taranath Ranabat. For a week, they tirelessly worked to unravel the tangled threads of this shocking incident. Over 100 individuals were interviewed, from eyewitnesses who survived the massacre to palace officials, guards, and staff. The aim was to piece together the jigsaw puzzle of the fateful night, to understand the sequence of events that led to the unthinkable. The conclusion of the investigation was as shocking as the event itself. Crown Prince Dipendra, the beloved firstborn of King Birendra and Queen Aishwarya, was named as the perpetrator. He was accused of orchestrating the mass shooting before turning the gun on himself. The motive? A speculated disagreement with his parents over his choice of bride. But would a dispute of this nature lead a prince to wipe out his own family? The investigation's findings were met with widespread skepticism. Observers, both inside Nepal and abroad, disputed Dipendra's culpability. Could a prince, adored by his people, commit such an atrocity? Could the heir to the throne, trained and groomed for leadership, destroy the very family he was destined to lead? These questions fueled the controversy, casting a shadow of doubt over the investigation's conclusions. King Gyanendra, the late king's brother, initially attributed the deaths to an accidental discharge of an automatic weapon within the palace. Later, he cited legal and constitutional hurdles as the reason for this claim. This further deepened the mystery, adding another layer of intrigue to an already convoluted narrative. The investigation, meant to bring closure, instead stirred up a whirlwind of questions and doubts. It was an attempt to make sense of the senseless, to understand the unthinkable. It was an effort to find answers, to seek justice, and to put to rest the ghosts of that tragic night. The official conclusion pointed to Crown Prince Dipendra as the perpetrator, but doubts lingered. The massacre left a deep scar on the Nepalese people, adding to the political turmoil already caused by the Maoist insurgency. It was a wound that pierced the very heart of the nation, a horrifying event that forever altered the course of its history. The monarchy, once revered and respected, found its popularity waning. King Birendra and Prince Dipendra, both cherished by the people, were replaced in the public eye by a cloud of suspicion and uncertainty. The ascension of King Gyanendra did little to assuage these feelings. Rather, it stirred up a whirlpool of questions and discontent that continued to churn the waters of Nepalese society. The political landscape of Nepal was irrevocably changed. The monarchy, a once integral part of the nation's identity, was now viewed with distrust and disillusionment. This shift in public sentiment was a significant factor in the subsequent abolition of the monarchy. The royal palace, once a symbol of power and grandeur, was converted into a museum, its glory tarnished by the gruesome event. Yet, amidst the turmoil and change, the Nepalese people did not forget their fallen king. In a symbolic Hindu Kato ceremony held on the 12th day of June 2001, they sought to find closure. A Hindu priest, dressed as King Birendra, rode an elephant out of Kathmandu, symbolizing the late king. He carried with him many of the monarch's belongings, symbolically banishing the spirit of the deceased king from Nepal. The legacy of the massacre is a complex tapestry of sorrow, change, and resilience. It is a testament to the strength of the Nepalese people, their ability to weather the storm of tragedy, and their determination to move forward. Some say this massacre was the pivotal point that ended the monarchy in Nepal. It marked the end of an era, the beginning of a new chapter, and left an indelible mark on the annals of Nepalese history. Despite the official investigation, many questions remain unanswered. Was it truly Dipendra who committed this heinous act? Or were there other forces at play? The truth, it seems, is as elusive as the misty peaks of the Himalayas. While the official report points to Crown Prince Dipendra as the sole perpetrator, there are those who believe otherwise. Theories abound, painting a complex tapestry of intrigue. Let us revisit the key points. The entire royal family, save for Gyanendra, were present at the palace on that fateful night. Yet only the families of King Birendra and Crown Prince Dipendra were killed. Gyanendra, who was away, ascended the throne following the massacre. His initial claim of an accidental discharge raised eyebrows, only to be replaced by a narrative that squarely blamed Dipendra. The incident left a lasting impact on Nepal. The monarchy was already embattled, grappling with a Maoist insurgency. The massacre further eroded the public's faith, leading some to argue that it marked a turning point, hastening the end of the monarchy. Yet the mystery persists. The questions that echo in the minds of many remain unresolved. Why would Dipendra, a popular prince, commit such an act? Could there have been unseen hands maneuvering the chess pieces? The Nepalese royal massacre remains one of the most shocking and tragic events in the nation's history, a haunting memory that continues to reverberate through the corridors of the Narayanhiti Palace.